Bro, we gonna react to some lost media again. Got to, bro. Give me that lost media. Yup. Yup.
Hey, sorry for interrupting. Isn't that annoying? What if I told you there was a way to get rid of ads like this?
10 more lost media found in 2020.
Crap, I'm on the wrong account. I'm on the wrong account, bro.
10 more lost media found in 2024. Mini Putt. Mini Putt is a 1987 mini-golf inspired computer game developed by Artec Digital Entertainment and released by a company called Accolade. 4 years after its initial release, it was ported by a Japanese company named A-Wave for further distribution on other systems, and a possible version change to make it playable on the NES in the USA. This new version would never be completed or see the light of day. The game, although not a smash hit, still saw an amount of success and was featured or reviewed in a number of gaming magazines at the time during the early 90s, before fading totally into obscurity. At one point in October of 2015, one of these surviving prototype ROMs was listed for sale on eBay, with a modest starting price of 99 cents, which ballooned up to a final cost of $1,525. However, it wasn't known at the time who bought the ROM or whether they were aware of how rare and hard to find it had been up until that point. It would be some time after that a user by the name of Bro3256 would become interested in the lost game, and he has left a lengthy comment on the Lost Media Wiki, titled, "My perspective on how Mini Putt for NES was found." He founded a wiki site in March of 2023 and dedicated a lot of time to creating, updating, and curating pages on it. During the course of this, he found information regarding the unreleased NES version of Mini Putt, as well as the prototype cartridge that sold on eBay in 2013. He asked users on a Discord server if anyone had more information about it, expecting maybe some additional
Bro, this video's whack. This one's whack, bro.
10 more lost media.
No. Ooh, the dark. Ooh. Hopefully I don't get banned.
On April 25th, at this bus stop, one boy, 15 years old, shot and killed a 17-year-old boy with a revolver.
WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota, Bradenton.
Preview guide. Lost media is a topic that I have been enamored by for years, yet have surprisingly not formally gotten into. The thought of disturbing TV broadcasts, audio and VHS footage that have been lost to time is fascinating, and the links that people go to find them is incredible. So much dark and disturbing content has existed even before the internet, and the aim of this series is to dive into them, their search, and their stories, because, as it turns out, some of the darkest lost media out there seems to have always existed among us.
The devil hidden within.
The following is a presentation of the Christian Television Network.
Bro, y'all see that, bro? She snorted, bro. She snorted. Oh, nah. Oh, nah, bro. Oh, nah. This kid's wildin'.
Come and join us for a half hour of fun and games at Joy Junction. Now here's Sheriff Don.
The show is broadcasting on the Christian television network named Joy Junction. It's textbook public access TV, set at the eponymous village and hosted by the town sheriff. Throughout the show's lifespan, the town residents would join in for educational bits about the Bible, and kids were encouraged to take part in various games. It seemed to have been pretty successful during its time, as it was on the air for a few years. Bizarrely, nearly every record and archive of this show ever existing have been wiped though, merely leaving us with a handful of surviving re-uploads on YouTube. This has, admittedly, made it difficult to find any further information about Joy Junction aside from what we can distill from the existing footage. But that's okay, because that's not the main reason we're here anyway.
Wait, hold on. Y'all see this, bro? Whipped out the sock mic. Yup, it's the sock mic. Yeah, what you know about this lifestyle, though? Alright.
Hi, everybody. What's happening?
Hey, Ron. Good to see you.
Oh, and I've been waiting on you. Oh, I'm sorry I got tied up, Marty, but traffic was heavy and the stores were busy. You know how it is when you go shopping.
One of the show's cast members was a ventriloquist by the name of Ron, and he was present in nearly every episode, joined by his doll Marty.
They're going to come back. Well, I did come back, didn't I? Yeah. I told you I would come back, didn't I? Yeah. And I'm sorry.
Typically, they'd have a quick conversation about whatever the topic of the day was, and it, at least in the surviving archives, appeared to serve as a bridge between two segments of the show. Ron's full name was Ronald Brown, and in the years following the show's eventual end, he'd launch his own puppeteering company out of Florida called Puppets Plus. On his website at puppetsplus.com, we can observe a myriad of their clients, along with the age groups that he was primarily hired for. Ages 2 to 5, and 6 to 11.
Oh, nah, he on some damn
Now,
sharp
at
timing.
first glance, this seems par for the course in his profession.
Oh, nah, bro.
Children's entertainment was his forte. However, it's when we back up and take a look at Ronald as a person when things begin to sour. You see, throughout the years, Ronald had a strange dynamic with children. For instance, in 1998, he was pulled over for a traffic violation and was found to be in possession of boys' underwear. His excuse was that he used them for his puppets, and he was eventually let off. Other complaints came throughout the
Bro got pulled over and had little boy's underwear in his trunk, bro. What?
them for his puppets, and he was eventually let off. Other complaints came throughout the 2000s about him giving rides to kids in his church van.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, police could never do much because there wasn't any explicit crime being committed.
Gonna be some weird
It was
stuff.
incredibly strange, but unfortunately not enough to warrant any sort of arrest. Where things really get nutty though, is when we jump to the early 2010s, in which Brown would find himself caught in a web of controversy.
I be in the cut like some weight. Get the chips and then I dip. My balls are itchy.
In May of 2012, a man named Michael Arnett was arrested after a sting operation. He was charged with the production of, and upon searching his home and computer, they would find chat logs on Yahoo Messenger between he and a person going by the name U.E. Lime. As it turned out, Arnett would produce these images and distribute them to various others online from the username CK3666, Sweet Talker Linda, and Calf Keeper 2. You'll notice that U.E. Lime was outward about their desires. They expressed interest in cannibalism, torture, sexual assault, and all of it was directed towards children, even as young
why
as
can't
2.
nobody be normal, bro? Nobody can
The
be normal
catch
these
here,
days.
though, is that Huey Lime wasn't just a random person. It was Ronald Brown, his secret online alias in which he'd express his fantasy about the kids he surrounded himself with daily. Let me remind you that this was a man whose entire career, entire life, was centered around associating with kids. Someone who was, at one point, on television in front of thousands. To say that these chat logs were a bad look would be putting it lightly. And yes, the messages you're seeing are straight out of the official case file.
Wait, hold on, let's read this. Nice idea. See how he reacts to that. Yeah, maybe a deadline around the base of it. Oh my gosh. Hold up. Y'all see this, bro? What's wrong with bro? Cut here. Okay. That would get him okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why can't anybody be normal these days, bro? Nobody can be normal. It's just impossible.
After corresponding with Yahoo.com, authorities were able to track down Ronald Brown and tie his username to a profile on a necrophilia website named cutedeadguys.net. Ronald's profile has been lost to time. However, through his own case report, we're able to find details describing it. On this site, his bio read,
Okay.
I love them young and dead. I enjoy them fresh, but like to see them displayed in their casket too.
What am I watching,
And
bro?
a few snippets from his post history. I like the blonde boy, would love to snuff him. Very hot pics. That boy looks dead, I like that one. I'd love to kill them.
Bro, how do you just look at a dead body and be like, yeah, that look good? Like, what? Like, what is going on in your mind that you think that? It's crazy. Craziness.
It's safe to say that at this point, there was more than enough to warrant an arrest. And on July 19th of 2012, that notion would finally become a reality.
Federal marshals arrested a Largo man for possessing and conspiring to kidnap a child. They say he was a puppeteer who performed for children in the Bay Area. News Channel 8's Yolanda Fernandez has been following this story for us. She is joining us live tonight from Pinellas County.
Well, Keith, 57-year-old Ron Brown is here in the Pinellas County Jail tonight. Federal investigators say it was his gruesome and very graphic online chats with the known child.
Brown's house was raided, and scattered across his home were images of pictures of kids being tied up, and even some that appeared to be dead. Furthermore, agents found CDs with much of the same material, a blow-up sex doll dressed in boys' clothes, a journal he kept about his fantasies dating back to 1978, and even books about serial killers and cannibalism. He was eventually found guilty of possession of and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison with a lifetime of supervision thereafter. Had he lived out his full sentence, he would be out sometime in 2033. However, as of August of 2020, it's reported that he is now deceased. My heart goes out to the children who had to suffer for the pleasure of this monster and all of those who associated with him. For his entire life, he was calculated and knew what he was doing. His career, his church van favors, his company parties, all a front for some of the darkest desires imaginable. In hindsight, I understand why Joy Junction's records were wiped. It was a show with a good premise and good intentions, I won't deny that. However, now bears a reputation forever stained by the devil.
That's crazy.
Hidden within them. Before we continue, just a couple quick announcements. First off, I'd like to formally announce my second channel, called Nexpo After Hours.
Gosh, nobody cares.
We've got some, but always appreciated as I try to keep.
No. Tape number 2, Legacy of Tragedy.
The year is 1928, and a romantic disaster film about Noah's Ark hits theaters. Directed by a man named Michael Curtiz, it premieres during a transitional period between silent movies and talkies, or films with actual spoken dialogue. Because of this, it's mostly regarded as a hybrid film with long scenes being played over music, and with it comes a healthy dose of extensive criticism. Most of the backlash is due to its runtime, clocking in at a whopping 2 hours and 15 minutes long, with considerable portions containing awkward dialogue and drawn-out scenes. Sitting through this movie is, to put it lightly, a considerable undertaking. Because of this, the film is pulled for revision, and the cut content is never shown again. A good portion of the cut footage came from what the movie is mostly known for today, and that's the flood scene. In it, we can observe a slew of actors fighting their way out of a crumbling temple and towards the Ark to stay alive. It's a grandiose set with a lot going on, and keeping in mind the time period, all of this was pulled off with practical effects. These people were legitimately submerged.
Jeez. See, this is what we need to go back to. We need to go back to realism, bro. Like, if somebody dies in a movie, they die in real life type stuff, you know? That's just how I'm feeling.
Some might consider the acting here to be pretty well done. Like I said, this scene is grand, and due to the time period, was all pulled off practically. The thing is, some of these actors weren't actually acting, as during this scene, 3 actors drowned and 1 reportedly lost their leg. This was the result of over 600,000 gallons of water being dumped across the set, something that the film's extras were reportedly unaware of.
600,000.
It's been reported that, before filming commenced, Michael Curtiz was warned against putting so many people in danger. However, he shrugged it off, claiming that the extras were expected to be prepared for anything, and that, quote, they're just gonna have to take their chances.
That's crazy.
In the original cut of the movie, it's rumored that you could see these deaths happen on screen with a much more fleshed out flood scene. However, since the revisions, that original version is forever considered lost. It's rumored that Curtiz was in pursuit of relentless perfection. He wanted this movie to be grand and authentic. However, in this chase came a loss of life that did not need to happen, leaving Noah's Ark forever stained with an enduring legacy of tragedy.
Bro, trying to be the real Jesus. Jeez, that's great. Rip.
Searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online. Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
On the 2nd of July 2014, an ad was made on Craigslist. It came from an 18-year-old girl named Brooke Slocum and was but a simple request for cash.
I need $50 by 3:30 p.m. today. I can pay you back later tonight, but I need gas and some mess quick. Everyone has bronchitis at my house and I do not want to get sick. I'm 8 months pregnant and my lungs are all squished as is. If you could help, me and my daughter will greatly appreciate it.
No.
This post remained untouched
I'm leaving.
for 10 days.
Yeah, she's cooked.
At 10:08 p.m. on the night of July 12th, Slocum receives an email from a man going by the name
gosh, that's a
Mike's
crazy
Hard.
last name. What the heck?
I can host. What are you thinking? I'm 25. This was a reply to other separate ads that Brooke made around the same time period.
Wait. Hold up. I am 18, 53. This is crazy. It's like a Tinder bio. Like, what is it? What is happening right here? Oh, this what? I'm confused. If you like, and then okay.
In which she would solicit sex for money. According to her friends, it wasn't willingly, as her then boyfriend, 25-year-old Charles Oppenheer, would coerce her to do this while accompanying her during these meetups. Reluctant, Slocum responds 20 minutes later.
Well, we're looking for donations if possible. Kinda in a tight spot, and we have a baby on the way. As far as the fund goes, though, there won't be any mail.
How does $120 sound? I can drive you over here if you need.
No, we can travel, just can't host is all. When and where would you like to meet up?
I like to f*** outside in a park around 11:30. That okay?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble for indecent exposure or anything. I can't go to jail being 8 months pregnant.
It's cop free. It's a park, but behind it there are lots of woods. No cops at all. This last email arrived at 10:59 p.m. And as we can see, Mike's Hard was keen on meeting that same night. Needless to say, Slocum ended up accepting, and their trip to Kazan Park in Wyoming, Michigan was on.
You can't even feel bad for people like this, bro. I swear. Like, this is literally your fault. Like, what? Oh yeah, she's done for. You're done. You're done. You're good. How would you even do this? This dude looks like a creep too. Oh my, and he got the shotgun. Yep, she's done. Yep.
It's midnight. The couple arrives, with Mike pulling up shortly after. Initially believing this to be another sex meetup, the two approach Mike without much concern. Sometime during the next few minutes, Brooke is grabbed, bound and shoved into the trunk of Mike's car. In haste, Charles tries to help, however is unsuccessful, resulting in a violent altercation between the two. It's unclear how long this fight lasted. However, what is certain is that during this, Charles was violently killed.
Jeez.
Mike drags his body near the woods, saws his head off, and covers the remains with sticks. And without so much of a single witness, he jumps in his car, and alongside Charles' head and Brooke Slocum stowed behind him, drives off.
He's insane. He's insane. What?
The night.
Gosh, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. There's now it's nobody. His body still hasn't been discovered.
After realizing that Oppenheer's car had not moved in days, police began probing on his whereabouts. When asked, his parents drummed up nothing. His work, nothing. No one knew where he was.
That's crazy.
But his car was there. And so they began searching the park on July 17th, 5 days after the incident with Mike's Hard. Upon scouring the wooded area that lined its back end, they then discover a headless body under some brush. And it was later identified as Charles Oppenheer.
Dang.
In the coming hours, it was realized that Oppenheimer wasn't single, and his girlfriend, too, was missing. In haste, authorities obtained a search warrant for her apartment and began searching her laptop. On it, there were a myriad of conversations. However, one thread from Mike's heart stood out among the rest.
That's so crazy that the police can actually find this stuff, bro. Like, what? Like, who would have even thought to go to the laptop, bro? That's crazy.
The Internet Crimes Against Children Unit was called in for analysis on the real name behind the alias, and they found that this address was tied to another email, which was tied to a Facebook for a man not named Mike, but Brady.
Oh, no.
Brady Ostrike. They stake out near his home while they await a search warrant. There wasn't enough evidence for an arrest warrant by this point, so that was a frustrating roadblock. The hours tick by without much happening. However, around 9 p.m. on the night of July 17th, Brady would be spotted jumping into his car and leaving his home. A few moments later, he's stopped by a nearby officer. Before they could get to him, though, he takes off, leading to a grueling pursuit.
Of course. I bet he's gonna get in a car crash or something, bro. That's what's gonna happen, crash. The police gonna shoot him or something. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. Can't see him. Just filmed on the microphone.
Eventually, he loses control and crashes into a cement barrier.
Oh.
As the officers pull up for apprehension, however, he on the head and falls forth to his death.
Oh my gosh.
A few seconds later, police approach and search his vehicle. In it was 31-year-old Brady Ostrike, dead in the front seat. And in the trunk, stuffed within a suitcase, was 18-year-old Brooke Slocum and her unborn daughter, both of whom were deceased. Upon searching Ostrike's home shortly after, they discovered a plethora of ropes, knives, swords, cages, straps, and bizarre writings that make little to no sense at all. His toilet was inoperable, and the entire place was nothing short of rancid.
Bro, how does your bed even get like this? What the heck? Bro, this is foul. This is disgusting. What are, bro? I'm at a loss of words. This is insane.
Most interesting of all, however, was the discovery of cameras. As it turned out, he had them all over his home so he could document his actions. And what you're seeing here is Ostrike as he prepares the basement he kept Slocum in for those agonizing 5 days. Now, there exists footage of Brady Ostrike's grueling torture of Brooke Slocum. However, you'll never see it. The police department has gone on record to say that they will never release it, however describe it as something straight out of a nightmare. During the time Slocum was captive, and even when police were right outside the home, she was locked in handcuffs with a chain around her neck. Reportedly, Ostrike had bound her arms to the ropes hanging from the ceiling and left her dangling while he sexually assaulted and tortured her before strangling her to death. All of this was captured on film. Years later, Oppenheimer's head was found off some back roads 17 miles north of Gizon Park. It's a chilling end to a disturbing online saga and really drives home the fact that you really don't know who it is you're meeting with on Craigslist, dating apps, OfferUp, what have you, until you actually come face to face. What began as a simple request for just $50 had led to the loss of 3 lives following a days-long nightmare orchestrated by a depraved man. The torture footage is, as of 2022, considered indefinite lost media that may never see the light of day. However, considering what exactly it entails, I don't think we'd really want it to.
Yeah. That's crazy, bro. And living
Coast is the one. Coast Federal.
Win Armstrong
For Coast Federal.
WXLT TV, Channel 40, Sarasota, Bradenton.
We're with you on ABC with you.
The year is 1972, and a reporter named Christine Chubbuck eagerly lands a job at WXLT Channel 40 in Sarasota, Florida. Initially hired as a reporter, she was reassigned to a spot named Suncoast Digest, a local affairs segment that ran at 9 a.m. every Saturday. During her time there, she'd become attracted to a fellow reporter named George Ryan and would seek his attention by baking him cakes and expressing a desire to hang out. When she realized that he was already romantically involved with another coworker, however, it was detrimental to her self-image, as Christine historically had difficulty finding love. According to her family, she'd go on dates with various men throughout the years, however had trouble connecting socially with them. On top of this, by 1973, Chubbuck underwent surgery to have one of her ovaries removed, and as a result, her doctors began to pressure her, claiming that if she wasn't able to conceive within 2 to 3 years thereafter, she may never be able to.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Super spy Fred Flintstone is off on the trail of the mysterious Green Goose, a master of
Tonight we begin with the death of a man armed with scissors. He was shot by police 24 times.
Do something, get him to do something about the problem. Meantime, they say they're going to back the leafleting up with a meeting this Friday with city and state officials.
Good evening. More than 100 people were reported dead in a plane crash near New York's Kennedy Airport this afternoon. The plane was an Eastern Airlines 727 nearing the end of a
As 1974 approached, Chubbuck witnessed a shift in news methodology. Christine always had a desire to pursue what she believed to be high-impact stories about issues affecting the community. However, WXLT executives were leaning more towards stories that were juicier, per se, utilizing fear and sensationalism to drive viewership, in turn generating revenue. The news she was tasked with reporting began to shift further and further towards spectacle and shock, and she frequently rallied against this, to no avail. Resultingly, she became stuck in a mindset, in a world that she was growing to hate. Her professional life, her personal life, everything around her.
Good evening, I'm Steve Newman, and this is Channel 40 Weather Watch. It's going to be even cooler tonight than tomorrow night than tonight. The reason for this, with the passage of the cold front today, when we picked up some showers, skies have cleared very nicely. And as a result...
On the 15th of July, 1974, Christine enthusiastically entered the station. Instead of opening Suncoast Digest traditionally, however, she claimed that there was a newscast she had to read to open it, something that hadn't been done hitherto. She takes her seat at the news desk, and for the first 8 minutes, opens her segment about 3 national news stories and a shooting that took place the day prior. Following this, a film reel of the shooting was supposed to play, but had jammed, leaving a few moments of dead air. In response, Christine apologized for the error before taking out a script she had handwritten and reading to the viewers the following.
It was discovered. Okay. Text gone from the mouse. What else is on too? Jeez.
Hi, I will substantially preserve the statistics. This weekend, being typical of the recent rash of violence, saw one man stabbed, another assaulted, and a third shot and wounded. Sarasota police report the finding of an 18-year-old, a man by the name of David Wynn, in the parking lot of a Friendly Tavern on 27th Street. Wynn had an apparent stab wound in the chest, which, according to witnesses, was inflicted by James Whitworth during a fight. Police charged Whitworth with aggravated assault. Wynn is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. The second attempted armed robbery in a week has involved law enforcement officers from both Sarasota and Manatee counties. Last week, teenage gunmen held up the highway bar and, after a shootout and high-speed automobile chase, held a family hostage and finally were nabbed by Sarasota Sheriff's deputies. Early Sunday morning, the Beef and Bottle restaurant north of Sarasota Bradenton Airport on US 41 was the site of an attempted armed robbery and shooting. TV40 newsman Bob Peterson was on the scene shortly after it began, and he filed this report. Sorry, for those of you who saw Late Night Weekend News Watch last night, we did have a film report and a commentary by Bob Peterson. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties and cannot bring it to you now. However, News Watch tonight at 5:30, and we'll have that story for you then. As of this morning, Race Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide.
At this moment, Christine drew a Smith & Wesson revolver that she had hidden in her bag, placed it behind her right ear, and fired, immediately falling forward onto her desk.
Oof.
In a frantic response, the tech directors quickly faded the broadcast to black and scrambled to play a movie thereafter. Calls began to flood in, with viewers questioning the authenticity of what they just witnessed, with some believing that this was just a morbid joke or a prank. However, it was far from it. She was rushed to Sarasota Hospital, and back at the station, the news director, Mike Simmons, had discovered 2 pages of a script left behind by her. The first page contained what we heard prior, however the second was a follow-up intended to be read by a third party. Today, Christine Chibuk during a live broadcast. She was rushed to Sarasota Memorial Hospital, where she remains in critical condition. Surprisingly, Christine's prediction turned out to be correct, not only because she was at that very hospital, but because she remained in critical condition for 14 hours until her eventual death.
That's so sad.
Christine's body was cremated and spread in the Gulf of Mexico, marking the end of a life full of despair. To those around her and to her loved ones, however, an agonizing void was left that would forever go unfilled. Reportedly, only one tape of this incident existed and was kept by Bob Nelson, the station's owner. After his death, his wife Molly would inherit it before handing it over to a law firm for good. As of now, this is where it lies, and for the foreseeable future, may never see the light of day.
We will return after these messages.
Good morning.
To preface this last entry, I'd like to state from the outset that the following could be absolutely nothing. The answer could be completely mundane. However, the footage in this section has personally stood out to me because of how bizarrely out of place it is and how little info there is about it. I was gonna put it in the next disturbing things. However, I think it fits better here. Let us begin. It's the 1980s. Beetlejuice makes its debut. Journey, Survivor, Guns N' Roses, and our favorite Rick Astley are on the airwaves. And over on a stand-up comedy show named An Evening at the Improv, a child actor turned musician named Corey Feldman is world premiering his latest track, Something in Your Eyes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start the show off tonight a bit differently than usual. What I'm going to do is I'm going to world premiere my song that I just finished writing and producing with Michael Damian from my new movie, Dream a Little Dream, with Jason Robards. It's called Something in Your Eyes. I'm going to do it right now.
As we can see, he had a mixed reaction from the audience. Clearly lip-syncing and taking inspiration from Michael Jackson, he employs dance moves in a musical style that attempts to emulate them. Upon looking through comments about him on YouTube, it's clear that history hasn't exactly been kind to Feldman, but that's beside the point. The reason I bring this video up in the first place is because, towards the song's end, Feldman's producer makes an incredibly strange cutaway to something that is very out of place for a video like this. Have a look.
You shouldn't have let it go. You should have held on. Stop running away.
That's weird, bro.
What is this? And why is it here? Nowhere in this song does Feldman make any sort of mention about a woman being bound to a pool table. And after performing a cursory scan of his other music videos, cutaways like this never happen again. This seems eerily out of place, and discussion about this is painstakingly few and far between. The only mentions I could find about it were from Reddit and a few YouTube comments. However, none of them garnered much attention, and their sources are pretty much non-existent. With that being said, let's circle back to the footage so we can break it down ourselves. As we can see, the video of this woman was patched in post-production. Unlike the other cutaways that happened prior, this one has a different border. It's in black and white, and seems to be slightly lower quality than his music video. In the footage, we have a woman with brown or black hair tied up on each corner of the pool table, is in what appears to be a small room with a swinging light above her, and seems to be moving because of discomfort. To me, this footage could be one of three things. Either it's a scene from an obscure movie, a cut of a film, or it could be from a legitimate film. Personally, I believe it's one of the first two, given how obvious this cutaway is on something that's been seen by hundreds, if not thousands, of people. If this were truly as sinister as it's been rumored, it would be a pretty stupid move to put it there. Regardless, this cutaway is one of the weirdest edits I have ever seen, and I'm still struggling to drum up a reason as to why it's there in the first place. I'm curious if you know anything about this, if you've seen it before, if you've heard about it, anything. This is a weird little mystery, and this is where I'm calling for your help. Who is the woman on the table?
That's weird, bro.
Even apart from the internet, the world is dark. So many pieces of media have been forgotten and lost to time, and in this series, I aim to
W video.